Puerto Rico Governor Wanda Vázquez is suspending a critical contract to rebuild the island's power grid. Vázquez says she'll be looking at all government contracts made following Hurricane Maria. She says, quote, there is no room in this administration for unreasonable expenses. Vázquez is taking over after former Governor Ricardo Rosselló was forced to resign over corruption allegations.
Meanwhile, the new Progressive Party is voicing support for Congresswoman Jennifer Gonzalez to be governor. For that to happen, and Governor Vázquez would need to step down. Gonzalez would also need to be confirmed as Secretary of State by both the House and the Senate. Julio Ricardo Varela joins us now. He is the co-host of the podcast In the Thick and the founder of media organization Latino Rebels. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
So, Julio, what is the likelihood that Governor Wanda Vázquez will step down now that her own party has voiced support for Puerto Rico Congresswoman Jennifer Gonzalez?
You know, right now I think it's going to be sort of a cooling off period this week in Puerto Rico because the legislative session doesn't start till August 19th. So what you're seeing from Vázquez right now is trying to put everything in order. You know, about last week, people were thinking, you know, Jennifer Gonzalez as resident commissioner of Puerto Rico, you know, non-voting member of Congress, was going to eventually become governor of Puerto Rico. But I think the word now that's happening on the island is that people are kind of thinking that that might not, you know, it's kind of a 50-50 right now. It's really hard to just make predictions. It's just been a wild 5 weeks, 6 weeks in Puerto Rico. And I think with school starting, you might not see a lot, but you will see a lot of Vázquez. You know, she's been very active. And with the contract news, that was kind of low-hanging fruit politically for her. I mean, PREPA, which is the utility company in Puerto Rico, is a big punching bag for both sides, you know, for everyone in Puerto Rico. So for her to say, like, I'm canceling the contract, I mean, that was kind of a win-win for her. I don't expect much this week, to be honest with you. I really think we have to start looking at what happens after August 19th.
You say that was a win-win for her, canceling that contract, but why did she make it a priority?
because I think it's easy. I mean, when you have an administration, we have to remember that Ricardo Rosselló's administration essentially destroyed any credibility in Puerto Rico, both in Washington and with Puerto Ricans. So I think for her to go after the contract and say, you know, it's, you know, there's a new sheriff in town, I think it was low-hanging fruit. I think it was kind of an easy thing to do. It's not a large contract. It's $450,000. I mean, the head of PREPA is going to meet with Vázquez today in Fortaleza, which is the governor's mansion, and they're saying that, you know, they need to have this contract done by October 6th or else they're not going to get federal hurricane money. You know, it's easy. It's easy to talk about trying to be accountable, trying to be transparent after you've had the most corrupt scandal in the history of modern Puerto Rican politics.
Julio, what's happening on the ground now? We've seen the protests. They've died down. Have Puerto Ricans lost interest? Are they regrouping? What's next?
Well, that's a great question because I've talked to a lot of people on the island. I think it's more of a regroup. You know, I think people are kind of tired. I think the last couple of weeks there's been a focus on the governor's succession. It's been very like, let's talk about who the next governor is. But what you're seeing, at least in my reporting and in talking with sources and talking with people in Puerto Rico, is that people are having political conversations about Puerto Rico as a colony and sort of this, what's our relationship? What are we doing? Is our politics really democratic? Is our constitution really the right constitution? For example, the Independence Party last week of Puerto Rico submitted a proposal to make amendments to the Constitution, having those conversations. So if you're not seeing, you know, I think everyone kind of rallied around Ricardo Rosselló's and his, you know, his frat boys chat. And I think right now you're starting to see the beginnings of a reexamination of what happens next for Puerto Rico. And that doesn't necessarily mean massive protests, you know, that are going to stop highways that you guys have been reporting and others. So I don't know. I mean, I think we all have to wait and see. But I do think that there's this level of people are kind of like exhausted. School is starting, you know, let's see what happens.
All right. Julio, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.